Hey Guardians, what's going on? Today we have an updated Titan Void ability build, and boy can you cause complete chaos with this thing. Now this is a Master Nightfall while under the recommended power level, with some really dumb modifiers like Drifting Apart, where you get no health regen when away from allies, and the only thing harder than a Master is a Grandmaster Nightfall. So you can clearly see everything just getting completely destroyed with this build. Now this is going to be a much shorter video today, as we are just updating the Void ability build we made last season, so it is optimized with the current season with a few slight changes. So guys, if you like this one, then be sure to leave a rating and subscribe if you're new around here and you want to see more, because I do have a full playlist of new and updated builds which you can find linked down below as well. Now with this build you're going to be able to just slap everything with those abilities one after another, as you are going to be chaining between those void abilities, which will also empower each ability too. You're going to get Devour quite often. You're also going to make Elemental Wells, which will buff your DPS as well as giving you extra damage resistance against enemies, all while having effective back clearing on top. So you're really making the most out of this build with the way we have it set up. So a quick example of how you'll use this build is first place down a Rally Barricade and then get a weapon kill. This will spawn a Void Elemental Well, which will buff your DPS by 25% for void weapons and give you a 40% damage reduction on top for 10 seconds, while also getting ability energy back. And because you place down a barricade, your melee and grenade abilities are going to be much more powerful, so at that point you'll just run around chaining between your three abilities over and over on a loop while generating those wells for extra resistance and increased DPS. Basically just place down a barricade, then throw a grenade, and then use your melee and repeat the process. With this setup the way we have it, you should always have your abilities back without much downtime, but on the rare occasion that you don't have your abilities up, as you just probably used one, you'll then use the 10 seconds of extra DPS you gained by picking up that Void Well to make the most out of dealing DPS to bosses and champs, or just add clear because your void weapons will also have volatile rounds as well. Honestly, a lot going on with this build, it's actually insane. So quickly going through the setup of this one, and guys there will be a dim link down below as well for you, but firstly you'll want to run void weapons to make the most out of your DPS and volatile rounds. So good choices are things like the Under Your Skin Bow or a Limon. These will cover your overloads this season, a Grid Skipper that will do your unstoppables, and of course a Void Scout Rifle like the King's Fall one, which will stop the barriers. Otherwise, if champions aren't your issue, then you can use your favourite void weapons like a Funnel Web. The DPS weapon I'd go with is again a Void one for the heavy slot. Although if you have modifiers in the game like the Nightfall I did had extra arc damage, then that's fine, you can just use an arc weapon instead, or whatever weapon you need to prioritise the activity over your loadout. Subclass we're using the Titan's Void Sentinel with Ward of Dawn. Then we have a Rally Barricade as it has a faster cooldown, the good bad boy Shield Bash so that you can yeet your teammates into walls while using it productively on ads I guess. We'll also have a Vortex Grenade, and then the aspects are Controlled Demolition and then Bastion. This will give us those overshields when placing the barricade down. Fragments are Echo of Expulsion, Echo of Instability so that we can get volatile rounds, and then Echo of Starvation for that Devour. If you want to make the most out of this build with the ability spam, then make sure you have 100 Resilience, 100 Discipline and 100 Strength if you can. And if you want to really make this your main primary build, then you can try and max out Intellect as high as you can as well, but you won't be able to get a quad 100 build with the Intellect included though. For the exotic we're using the Heart of Inmost Light for the ability spam, amazing exotic. If you haven't got this one though, your alternative is Armantarium or Ursa's, but I'd only use Ursa's if you're going into endgame PvE like GMs with a team, but if you're going to do that then you'll want to swap out Ward of Dawn for a Sentinel Shield instead. For the mods, Helmet we are using Reap and Wellmaker to spawn Void Wells, a Harmonic Siphon to spawn an Orb so that we can get Devour. Just make sure you are running a void weapon or you won't be spawning any at all. We also have our Ammo Finder for the heavy weapon, then in the arms, Elemental Armaments to spawn in more void wells, along with a grenade kickstart and our champion mod. In the chest we have Radiant Light for the extra strength, so that we can get 100 strength along with our damage resist mods from the artifact. Then in the legs we have Wealth Tenacity to take 40% less damage when picking up those void wells, along with Better Already to trigger health regen when picking up that orb right before getting Devour. You can swap this one out if you want to, you don't actually need to use that, but don't forget your scavenger mod as well for your heavy weapon. And then lastly in the class we're using Font of Might for the increased weapon damage, utility kickstart and a distribution as well for reducing our ability cooldowns. Now overall I love this build a lot, it is one of my favourite builds and one of my main builds that I use all the time, which is why I have the triple 100 stat with this build. But my very best build for the Titan is still the Solar Infinite Restoration build that you can find down in the playlist, which is just completely broken still. But with this one and the Solar build you can use these in any season regardless of artifact mods, as it doesn't heavily rely on them, so you will just need to make a few small changes and that's all. But the initial setup of the build will still remain the same. Honestly guys, give this build a try and let me know what you think of it down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next build video soon. Peace out.